from the Ticats Audio Network. This is the Ticats This Week.
Ticats This Week, we have playoff picks. We have grabbing some popcorn and the best performances. Rick Zamperin, Simoni Lawrence, Matt Bucknor, and a special guest this week. We have him for a few minutes, quarterback Bo-Levi Mitchell. Fellas, how are you?
Mr. Bo-Levi Mitchell, what's up, my boy?
21, what's good?
What up, Rick? What up, Matt?
Yes, Bo, welcome.
What up, y'all?
What's up, Sim, Rick, Bo?
Hey, man.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah. Hey, Bo, let's start with this. How excited are you for November 8th, East Final against Montreal or Winnipeg, blackout night in the Hammer? That's got to feel pretty good a couple weeks from now.
Man, I'll tell you what, I love the idea of the blackout. I know you boys are excited about that too, but just to be able to kind of come out of the field and look up and see everybody wearing black, just knowing everybody's supporting. Man, just getting to play football, right? Playoff football is why you play this game. So just couldn't be more excited to be ready for that game.
Let's get to it, baby. Mr. Bo-Levi Mitchell, career high on touchdowns, bro. How it feel to be older and still moving the pocket, still breaking your own records that you set and leading the team to the Eastern Finals? How that feel? What's that feeling like? Does it get old? Does it feel different being in the East doing it than it does the West? What's up?
No, I think it feels special being able to do it in both. You know, to be able to kind of move teams, a place that you were for so long, right? So being able to come here and be with Scott, and just be blessed to be with him, right? Like it's pretty amazing his track record of quarterbacks, but to be able to kind of come out there and have the yards last year, the touchdowns last year, and then the touchdowns again this year, and lead both, pretty special. But I mean, you're at practice every day, brother. You see the receiving core I got, man. It's pretty special.
Hey, Bo, you talked about, the touchdowns from last year and the touchdowns this year. There's also been a pretty big turnaround. So you guys last year, of course, there's no secret. Last year with bottom of the East, and there was a big turnaround this year, going from bottom to the beast of the East in 2025. And so for you, what are some of the things that you've seen from this organization that's really turned things around?
I mean, I think once the helm got turned over to Scott, this is any organization. That guy has to get his guys in the building that he wants, right?
Yeah.
Head coaches have a vision for what they see their team as, or kind of have the way they build their teams, right? There's always there's that DNA. So I think Scott has taken that DNA and went and found some of those players that he needs, right? Brought in, some amazing guys, obviously with Ted and what Ted did to kind of keep around a big core of guys, but be able to go out and make a splash and get some players that really helped us make this happen. It's just special to kind of see that locker room, man. Like, y'all been inside the locker rooms. Like, when you have a good locker room, man, there's just nothing better. Like, you have guys infighting, in the locker room, kind of things like that, or DBs against receivers type thing. Like, it's never a great feel. You're always trying to find something out there, but like right now we have a core group that Sim was out there the other day. Like, Stab was talking trash to me. We were keeping score of who was winning every play about getting 5 yards or more, and I'm over there yelling like I'm 17-19. Like, how have y'all won a play yet? He's like, because y'all are throwing 5-yard balls. Like, that's that competitiveness you want, right? Because at the end of the day, as soon as the period's over, we're right there, we're dapping it up, we're laughing with each other, and that's the difference. Like, being able to like step down and compete against one another, but then have each other's backs the moment that period's over, just kind of shows the group that we have.
That's pretty special stuff, Bo. Later on in the podcast, we're going to talk about incredible performances in 2025. Do you have a game, a moment that you look back on this season to say, wow, that was pretty special?
Not for myself, but honestly, just for me, it's just Kenny. I think Kenny's been a huge turnaround for us. Anytime you can add a special talent like that and a guy that just has those plays that ignites our team, right? Like, Simoni's no stranger to that. Like, being able to kind of, I can't imagine how many times I've tried to throw a bender or a dig route behind Simoni. It's either been a tip or a tip pick, or he picks it off himself, and you just see the sideline light up, right? Like, the same thing with Kenny. Like, you throw Kenny a deep ball, he catches the ball, and all of a sudden the camera's in. Like, you can see the eyes. Like, he has those eyes. Like, yeah, like, let's go. It's time to go. To me, the sideline just lights up. So I think there's been a lot of great performances offensively all around. But I think early on, just kind of Kenny hitting those 3 touchdowns against Toronto, some of those big catches against BC, against Ottawa, right? Ottawa, that's probably one of the catches of the year. Just the way he's been able to do that consistently throughout really every single week, it just kind of lights us up as an offense.
And what are you doing between now and November 8th to get ready with the guys?
We're going to spend as much time as we can together. I think staff was just having a meeting with the DBs today. They were all watching film, but then right after that, they're sitting there shooting basketballs together, right? Just kind of bonding. Like it's taking that brotherhood to another step, to understand, we have to put the work in mentally to be prepared. Yes, we don't know who we're going to play yet, but we do know it's going to be one of two teams, so we can put as much work in as we can on those two teams, have an idea of what we want to do, an identity of how we want to attack these guys and how they're going to try to attack us. But then spend time together, man. Spend time together, because this is the last time this group will be together, right? In football, the businesses, these teams change every single year, no matter what. So create that bond right now, that when you're on that field and your knees hurting a little bit or your arms hurting a little bit, and you look over and you see your buddy hurting, that you're gonna put everything you can, everything you have in your body out there for him to make sure we get a win.
One last one from me before Matt and Sim kind of take over for the last few minutes with you. Is you're one step away from the Grey Cup, but you also have a job to do to get to the Grey Cup. Can you just talk about the mentality of, taking care of business so you can get to the biggest game of the year?
Yeah, I hate even the way you worded that.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault. It's just it's the way we've been conditioned so much in this sport, is to get into the championship game. Yeah. I've never been a fan of getting there. Right? It's about finishing when you're there. So to me, we're not one game away. We're 2 games away. Right? Our ultimate goal is holding that Grey Cup above our head, being able to kiss it on stage, share it, break it, dent it, whatever it is. Obviously, hopefully you don't do that, but that does happen. But it's not about getting to that game. People in this organization have been to that game. We haven't finished. So our job is to make sure that when it's all said and done, that it's we finally have a 2000s in front of the last Grey Cup champion in Hamilton Tiger Cat history.
That'd be cool. Matt, I'll pass it to you, and then we'll close with Sim.
Yeah, and Bo, one of the things you talked about, guys kind of just being a little to kind of take care of the bodies going into this bye week, and of course getting that preparation for the Eastern Final. What can you say about the contribution from Coach Bowman and what he's done with a lot of the guys in that locker room?
Man, I think I've been outspoken on this subject for a long time, and it's just amazing what he's able to do. There's a lot of turnover when it comes to football bodies in this sport, and it's hard to continue to invest your time into athletes that might not be here the next year, or might not even be playing at the moment. But he doesn't turn an eye to anybody. If you ask him for help, he's going to find a way to help you. I can't speak enough on how his time and effort into me last year has changed my game for the last 2 years. Honestly, I give Scott so much of the credit. I give Bowman the next amount of that credit, and then I'll give myself for the work effort and stuff after that. But to me, the combination of Scott's knowledge and what he's put into me in the game, and then for Bowman, just what he's able to do. I stuck with him here, lived here, worked out with him every single day, and just the amount of time he put into me, which he's not getting paid extra for that. Right? He's not making extra dollars because he's spending more time there with me. He's doing that out of his love for the game, his love for the athlete, and him wanting to actually genuinely see you get better. So, honestly, his knowledge is unmatched from guys that I've been around, and, definitely a name to watch out for when it comes to future stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's perfect, Bo. Enjoy your bye week, man. See you on Wednesday.
21, appreciate you, brother.
Okay.
Matt, Rick, appreciate you
Yes,
guys.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, y'all done a great job all year. Obviously, I've watched a lot. I haven't commented or anything, but you know how it is. Much love, and appreciate you guys getting the word out there about everybody.
All right.
Appreciate you, man. Keep killing it.
Appreciate your time, Bo.
Yes, sir.
All right, another big thanks to Bo Levi Mitchell for stepping by. And most outstanding player nominee for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, likely of the East Division, I think, and probably of the CFL. We'll see that potentially materialize in the next few weeks. Before we get to our Week 21 pick recap, our half-season CFL game picks, and yes, we're going to do some picks in the playoffs as well. Got to give a shout-out to a handful of Tiger Cats CFL Honor Roll Week 21 winners. Running back Greg Bell, right tackle Quinton Barrow, kicker Mark Leggio, and special teamer Robert Panabaker. Big pat on the back from Pro Football Focus from the CFL Honor Roll. Okay, recapping our Week 21 picks in the CFL. We're going to select our East and West semifinal winners as well. Last week, both Matt and I 4-0, Sim 2-2. So the overall
Dare to be
regular
different,
season,
baby.
Overall, half regular season standings. Matt, 29 correct. I had 27. Sim with 20. But it's a whole new ball game come playoff time. East and West semifinals. We have two big games this coming weekend. Saturday afternoon at 2, Montreal hosting Winnipeg. Bombers, the crossover team, and the West semifinal at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Calgary at BC. Matt, because you were the half regular season champion, we'll start with you.
I know, he over here had a COVID year.
Are you going to put an asterisk? You going to put an asterisk beside this victory? Come on, guys.
You
Come
get
on.
half a trophy for winning the half regular season picks. Give me your two game winners this weekend. Who do you like?
All right. So a lot of great. Of course, it's going to be a great weekend of Canadian football, and I'm going with Montreal to take it at home against Winnipeg. I know they lost last week, but I took Winnipeg I took Winnipeg at home last week, but I'm taking Montreal at home in this Eastern semifinal. And then in the West, I'm going with another home team. BC's been on fire in that Western Conference, and I don't see them going down against Calgary. So we're going Montreal, BC.
Okay. My picks are very similar. In fact, they are the Alouettes and the Lions as well. Winnipeg, by the way, 2-0 against Montreal this season. BC 2-0 against Calgary. I think the West semifinals could be much more high scoring than the East semifinal, but you never know. Come playoff time, crazy things happening. But I'm going Alouettes, Lions as well. Simoni, who do you like this weekend in the East and West semifinals?
You know what?
Don't do it, man.
Don't do it, Sim. It didn't work.
Don't do it.
Don't
you dare.
Don't do it.
When you look at this football season, you like, man, you got to stay consistent. I like this BC versus Calgary. I'm like, yo, BC is hot as fish grease. Like the way Rourke is playing, their balanced run attack, their defensive backs even look like they're making plays.
Mm-hmm.
But I know one thing about football. I feel like these guys going to go back to their old ways. It's time for a game. They've been too hot. And I feel like Calgary is going to find a way to win this game. Like in the playoffs, I always bet with the coaches because everybody has as much data as possible. So I'm going to go to the coaching battle. So I'm taking Calgary.
Okay.
And the same thing with Winnipeg. I love Montreal. I think Montreal is the hottest team in the league right now. But at this game right here, I just feel like Winnipeg is going to find a way. You can't tell me that Zach Caleros, all these MVPs, all these Grey Cups, is about to get his butt eliminated in the first round? Ah, man, you can't tell me that story. I got to hear that story from somebody else, but I can't tell you that story, so I got to go Winnipeg. That's just the way it is. Winnipeg and Calgary.
I love it. Hey,
okay.
Listen, come playoff time, we've seen some weird things. Whether it's CFL, baseball, NFL, hockey, like that, strange things happen. So I can envision Winnipeg and Calgary, two road teams. I'm not going there. But I can see it. I can see it. We're going to honor some great performances in 2025. But before we do that, let's look back at what was a wonderful performance by the Tiger Cats in the Hammer. Final regular season game. They needed to win to clinch home field advantage in first place in the East for the first time since 2019. They locked it down 35-15 over Ottawa. Sim, what stood out to you from that game?
The defense got their turnovers. I love when the defense is getting their turnovers. They didn't get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They got 6 of them things. And the thing that stood out for me was individual players stood out. I was like, where the steppers at? Where the steppers at? And sure enough, Tim White comes out hot. 2 touchdowns that game. Mark Leggio, 7 for 7. He's a real stepper, no pun intended. And then we also got our defense. I was like, man, I was saying Jamal Peters got an interception. He's one of our steppers that we called out that stepped up. And let's talk about Amos. Amos is probably one of the best additions to this football team and to the secondary. He's been so consistent in being like a really good player. You know, he has his one-offs and stuff like that in the running game, but who cares? He's playing freaking our field half, and he's been doing such a tremendous job as us. And the fact that he's even getting in the box and coming to make plays and giving the effort is even amazing. I think he was one of the steppers as well, too. And another thing that I was happy to see is Reggie Stubblefield. He looked like he was kind of like getting his groove back. I mean, I said like Amos got his first interception. Reggie was right in the quarterback's face, causing a mishap. And then in his drop, I've been looking at his drops. I'm like, man, all if he got to do is set things up and he could be stealing all these interceptions, especially at the same spot. His drop, he went inside, baited somebody, got the interception. So that's what we needed. Like what I seen on defense, I was like, all right, Reggie need that. Amos needed. Jamal Peters needed. Julian Hauser needed. Stepper, 2 sacks. Another forced turnover when Amos caught his other touchdown, and then Osai. Like, that's enough on the defensive side of the ball right there. Those guys, if they play at a high level like that, they can do enough to give the ball to this offense and let them score 50 points. Offense was rolling. I would have loved to see them get more touchdowns. I think we were 0 for 4 in the red zone, which is not acceptable, especially in playoff time. But I know that the game was well taken care of, but I know that they would want to get those plays back. But I was overall, I was excited. I want to see the special teams break more punts. I think Wooden's so close to getting out of there. Like every single time we're in that booth calling the game, Rick, we just like, oh, it's right there. And then he barely gets touched. So I think that he's due for a big game in the Eastern Final as well, just watching him and how hungry he is and going. Legio's game ready, 7 for 7, no groin, and looked like everything was perfect with him. Could have broke the record very easily. I was excited. The only thing is, it was against Ottawa, and they are such a bad football team. I'm not even exaggerating, being facetious, nothing. Like, they're just a bad football team. Like, they were sending +1 blitzes and then dropping the mic under our fastest receiver and telling him to stick Tim White. And then they had a backup safety in there where Bo just came out there and played around with him, looked to the 3 receiver side, and it was all hitches, and the safety still went over there. Tim went in the end zone. So it's like, it was real bad football, but like, hey, you can only do what you can do when you play against who you can play against.
Great analysis. Matt, what stood out to you in Hamilton's win over Ottawa?
Love the play from the entire secondary. There was the secondary all kind of got themselves involved. We saw Dustin Talbert came. There was a play that they tried to go with the screen into the flat there, and he came and made a big hit. And then right away that led to the Stubblefield interception that or was it Amos after that one? I think I'm.
Nah, you're right. You're absolutely right. It was on the third down.
The third down play, and it got the interception right after that. And so just that type of play, and those types of plays, those big hits that we see sometimes through these games, it's something that can spark the rest of the defense. So you saw that big hit from Talbert, and then everybody else is rallying behind, getting excited, and so plays like that just ignite it. So I thought that was awesome to see. Just plays from the smaller plays from secondary. There was a couple that they want to get back. That flea flicker, I was like, oh, come on, you can't give up that. You can't give that one up. And that was just one that they kind of got these eyes. The defense had bad eyes. But aside from that, I love the pressure from there were a handful of sacks, but then there were a ton of pressures that you saw, which ended up forcing some of these turnovers. And so the pressure from the D-line that led to the interceptions from the secondary. And not only the secondary got their hands on some, we saw Braxton Hill get his hands on a couple too. And I thought that was exciting to see, just full contribution from that defense. And then Legio, I thought Legio stole the show. He had 7 for 7. We don't want to see Legio kicking a ton of field goals in the playoffs, but when his number was called, he stepped up to the plate and got it done. I think that's something that we have not harped on Legio all season long. He's been so consistent throughout the course of the season, coming out and he's had games where he's gone 4 for 4, 5 for 5, 3 for 3, had walk-off field goals. So he's just been He's been, of course, he's the Canadian Player of the Year and Special Teams Player of the Year for a reason, and he showed that again this past weekend. And then, of course, the offense. I love seeing Tim White. That was one of the things that we're talking about, the offense sticking out. Tim White getting 2 touchdowns, and then not only that, but another 1,000-yard receiving season production from him, which was, again, just showing his consistency and his contribution. I know that, a lot of the talk has been Kenny Lawler, a lot of the talk has been, Keandre Smith too, but Tim has, he's a major contribution to this offense and what he can do. He showed he was running, he's running the ball. You see him making the receptions, getting those key touchdowns, touchdown catches, and so he's been another contributor. And I can't wait to see what he does in the playoffs too. And so just this outstanding performance from him, and then of course Bo doing what he does too. And so yeah, excited to see this offense. Special teams did their thing as well, and looking to see what these guys do come this game against whomever they play in this Eastern Final.
Got a question. And then, Matt, since you brought that up, and then you had me thinking about all the players, and then we missed our favorite guy, Greg Bell, that had such a big day against Ottawa. And it was so effortless, like just the way he was moving and dipping through traffic, making everybody look silly. We have to talk about the other side of the ball. How do we feel like we stood up against the run against Ottawa? They had a 5.0 average. What would you say? How could we get better there?
Yeah, you know what? That's kind of been one of the key, I guess, points for Hamilton is stopping the run again. And then you're going to see it in this playoffs. They're going to see 2 really good teams that know how to run the football. And so I think for Hamilton, it's going to be really hunkering down. Now, again, the Ottawa game was the Ottawa game. Whatever the game plan was. But I think for these guys looking forward, the run has to be one of the things that they need to get to be stout in. It's got to be these linebackers, being key, filling their gaps. Of course, the defense, the D ends too, or the ends, making sure that they're containing. We don't want to be getting beat on off the edges. So it's going to be a tough test, whoever they end up going up against in this playoff, whether it's Montreal or Winnipeg.
Hey Matt, that was a little bit of a trick question. I was hoping you say I don't care if they stop the run if they got 6 turnovers.
Oh, you trying to set me up? But no, man. But you know what? It's true. That's true too. But then we want the turnover, but we got to stop the run. We do have to stop the run when it comes playoff time, because these guys are gonna want to pound the rock. Both of those teams.
Oh, nah, absolutely. But give me 6 turnovers, I say y'all.
Hey, East Final Ticats and either Montreal or Winnipeg, Saturday, November the 8th. Tiger Cats pregame will start at 2 p.m. that day. Kickoff is at 3 o'clock on the Ticats Audio Network. Again, it's Blackout Day at Hamilton Stadium. All fans encouraged to wear black jerseys, pants, coats, toques, mitts, whatever it's called for on that day. And don't forget, get your tickets, ticats.ca, 905-547-CATS. We have some special performances to tip our caps to. And we have, I've compiled a top 5. We'll comment on each and every one of them. But we also have some honorable mentions, because the Ticats had so many pretty cool performances and performers in 2025. So I'm going to give you 3 honorable mentions, and maybe you guys can pick 1 or 2 or all 3 and comment on them. And I'll start with week 4. Devin Verasuk making his first CFL start, middle linebacker. He had 8 tackles, a special teams tackle, an interception for a touchdown. A pretty special night for Devin Verasuk. Matt, do you want to start on Verasuk, and we'll get the ball rolling here on our honorable mentions for our top performances.
All right. Well, shout out to the rookie, the Windsor alum. Real proud of his performance throughout the season. The kid, of course, stepping up. He didn't start right away. But he was inserted. Into that lineup and came out. Yeah, in his first game, had that special teams tackle. Get your hands on the ball. And then here's the thing too, Sim. You know all about this. You get your hands on the ball. What you trying to do? You're trying to score. And so he did just gotta score. Put some points on that board. And he got out there. And then of course he was flying around being physical. Of course, there's for him, he's gonna say this too. Just not only highlighting this game, but just building on it on his performance throughout the rest of the season. There's some room for him to grow. Again, he's a rookie, but I see a lot of promise for him. And I think he's gonna have a great career as a linebacker here in the Canadian Football League. Hopefully, he spends a lot of time with the Hamilton Tiger Cats. But yeah, he's such a great player. And then you hear from a lot of the teammates. He's coachable. The guy listens. He works hard. He's doing a lot of the little things that kind of put him in position to make plays. And so real proud of that young man and his performance. And I can't wait to see what he does too come playoff time, because everybody can make plays in regular season. So come playoff time, let's see you turn it up a little bit too.
Hamilton goes on to win that game 35-17 against McLeod Bethel Thompson and the Alouettes in a big game. First win of the season for the Ticats after they lost their first two. Sim, you mentioned Greg Bell a few moments ago. Week 14, Greg Bell, 20 carries, $156, a touchdown. He had 5 catches, 34 yards as Hamilton smokes Montreal again, 26-9. This time at Percival Molson Stadium. That's a pretty good performance.
That was a nasty performance. And the crazy thing is, our boss kind of called that game, too. He's like, watch Greg Bell. He's going to have over 150 yards. And he got 150 on the dot. Also, shout out to Scott Mitchell. But that game was amazing. Like, just watching I didn't even know they had that in their arsenal when Coach Milanovic came and formation them to death. Because when you're going against a team that likes to do all this crazy stuff, like exotic blitzes and stuff, you know what you do? You make them line up and play football. And that's exactly what Scott Milanovic did, bringing on extra offensive linemen, extra tight ends, bringing in Litre at fullback. And then these guys are out there, they like, what the heck? Where I line up? Where my receiver at? You know who your receiver is? It's that big offensive tackle right now. So learn how to count, little man. Boom, boom. And Greg Bell just ate that whole day up. And it was just fun to watch, because that's why I say I love watching playoff football. It's because it's about who can adjust and who can do the right things. And like that was such a playoff football type of game called by Scott Milanovic. I know Thropes watching that, and he's like, all right, guys, this is where you line up when this happens and this happens and this happens and this happens. I wish we would have packed it for later, but it is what it is. Greg Bell has such a great performance on that game. He was coming out of the backfield. His feet was good, and like that was the resurgence of our run game. That's where it was like, okay, we have this in our arsenal, and we're going to keep riding it. And I think he went for about over 150 total yards for the next 4 straight games. So, yeah, that game was memorable for sure.
That was definitely a launching pad for Bell and the run game. And again, these are honorable mentions for performances of the year, and these are pretty incredible statistics. And Stavros Katsantonis enters the chat in Week 18, 8 tackles, 3 picks, 2 knockdowns, as Hamilton slaughters the Argonauts 47-29 in Toronto. Matt, what comes to mind when you think of Stav and those 3 INTs?
Okay, so real quick story about Stav. So a handful of years ago, I had an opportunity to sit in the meeting rooms during training camp as a guest coach. And Stavs, of course, he was one of the leaders. He's considered one of the leaders in that room. And I got a chance to kind of just observe him and watch him really closely, watch him during training camp, watch the way he prepares during the meetings. And Sim, you know this too. You see certain players, you're like, man, this guy is a ball player. And not even just what he's doing on the field, it's just his attention to detail in the meeting rooms. And so a lot of guys that do that and they can translate that to great play become really good football players. And so, also talking with Coach Monson, he said a lot of great things about Stas in terms of just he's just a very cerebral player. He's one of the smartest players that he's been around. And this Coach Monson's seen a lot of great players in his years too, coaching in this league. And so just to say that about Stas, I think is incredible. And now him going out and performing that day that's a career day. So for a DB to go out and get 3 picks, the guy could have had 5. We talked about this before. He could have had 5 that day. He went out, had 3 nonetheless, 8 tackles. It had a little bit of yak, showed a little bit of yak after those receptions. And again, just being in position. That's part of it as a safety, is being in position. But then of course, executing the play when your number's called and getting it done. Not a lot of safeties in the league are having those types of performances, and that was a career day for Stavs. And love to see, of course, his DB play. So love to see what DBs get their hands on those balls and make a big name for themselves. I think he easily could have been in the top five, but there's so many other performances too. And I love that at least he's being mentioned in this honorable mention or top performances of the year, because that was definitely one of them that year or this year.
Yeah, anyone catching Ticats this week and listening, that Devin Verisuk in week 4, Greg Bell in week 14, Stav in week 18, not getting into the top 5 and thinking, who the heck is in the top 5? We got a cornucopia of amazing performances coming up here in our top 5 2025. And I want you both to chime in on each of these. And okay. Matt, we'll start with you on this one. Week 5, Bo Levi Mitchell. Ticats absolutely embarrassed Toronto 51-38. Bo is 19 of 24, 332 yards, 5 touchdowns. What a performance.
Yeah, they talk about in basketball, they talk about sometimes the hoop, you get out to the court and the hoop is like the size of an ocean. And, Steph Curry shooting the threes and you can shoot from anywhere and it's going to land. That was the type of game that Bo had that day. He went 19 of 24, lit up the scoreboard, 5 TDs in a game. The man played perfect ball. He played perfect football that day. And against Scanfield, making sure he got Kenny Lawler involved with 3 touchdowns. Just the way that he executed that day, I think, was, again, just top notch. And again, showing that he is the MOP, and he showed that early. That was early in the season. We're talking week 5. He's showing that he's one of the top guys in the league. And then again, that type of performance continued. Now, he didn't have 5 touchdowns every single week, but again, it just showed he was showing his consistency. Didn't throw any interceptions that game either. And I thought, again, there was just another, that was that Bo 300 that we love to talk about, that we love to see. And yeah, just another, man, outstanding performance from that man.
Sim, week 5, Bo leads the Ticats to a win. They're 2-2 after just embarrassing Toronto. What were your memories of Bo Levi's big performance that game?
That's my favorite kind of Bo, when he pointing them fingers in them veins. And for whatever reason, Dinwiddie and the Toronto Argonauts brings that out of him, where he just want to kick the dog crap out of them. You know what I mean? And I love the cocky, gunslinging Bo at quarterback. That's my favorite Bo. And when they played Toronto that day, that's exactly what he was doing. He was pointing in them veins, looking over at the Toronto sideline like, are you kidding me? Y'all got these little kids back there playing safety. I remember the kid that played safety back there. He had like a big game where he picked up a fumble and he just did a bunch of lucky stuff in a football game, right? So everybody thought he was Goose all of a sudden or something, right? So now he's playing back there playing safety, and we are just picking on him all day. And then they had the nerve to put number 23 Franklin on Kenny Lawler, and Bo was just like, y'all serious? Jump ball. You know what? Hat trick since we in Canada and y'all like hockey. Another jump ball. It was so disrespectful. And then Bo was like, you know what? Y'all think y'all good? All right. Kenny, you just go here, run off. I'm going to give the ball to Ternowski. You go get some touchdowns. He was like Oprah when Oprah used to give out all those gifts. You get a touchdown. You get a car. You know, that's how it was. And that was one of those games where it was like, okay, I know my offense could put up 50 points. I don't want to see us losing any game because that's the standard.
Sim, you kind of referenced it with a hat-trick comment. We'll stay with you on this one. Week 5, again, in Toronto, 51-38 for the Tiger Cats. Kenny Lawler makes 6 catches, 207 yards, 3 tutties.
He did score 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. He was going insane. And it wasn't just regular touchdowns. These were spectacular grabs. These were top 5 plays of the whole entire year, the kind of plays that he was making. And then it wasn't just from a standpoint of, I'm going to just catch touchdowns because, he's a high-pay receiver. That's what he's supposed to do. He gets his butt over there. He's blocking on the edges, still on the screen pass the whole game. The play that I loved the absolute most that game game was when he knew he had all the attention on him, so he did a runoff route for Tarnowski where he took the boundary corner and he took the boundary half, letting Tarnowski only have to make one person make to get in the end zone. He was a complete football player that game. And when Kenny is playing at that level, he's automatically going to have Bo playing at that level because Bo's not scared to take the shots. So when those two are on the same type of synergy, the sky is the limit, especially when those boys are clicking on the same page like that. Because when Bo has faith in the deep ball, you already know Bo just like to throw that ball deep and tell his players to make a play. So when he got Kenny on that page, and that day that Kenny had them 3 touchdowns, it's a tough team to beat, baby.
Yeah, Kenny was some kind of special all season long, but Matt, in particular, Week 5, what a performance.
And Kenny came out there. He says, "I'm that guy. I'm that guy." And he was showing that he was on a bit of a streak too, leading up to that game. And there was a lot of talk about how much yards that he's been putting up and these spectacular catches. And are these? I remember earlier this season talking about those catches, those deep balls that they're not even 50-50 balls. It's just 80-20 balls for him. And he's getting up there in double coverage. He's going out. He's beating he's going over the top of the defense. He was doing it all. You heard Sim just talk about how he's out there blocking. He's being a team player. And I think one of the biggest things too that I love from Kenny is that the teammates love him. Every time he gets a touchdown, the entire squad is out there celebrating with him, and they got their little group celebration that they do. And so that's also a testament to the type of man that he is, the type of player that he is. He has just a lot of love from not only just his guys, but the entire unit is just rallying around him, and they want to keep seeing him shine, because when he shines, everybody else shines around him. So again, to have over 200 yards in a day, 200 yards. Sam, we don't see that 200 yards from a receiver that's another career day. And so yeah, this was definitely a top 5 performance for this Ticats team, and of course for Kenny Lawler, that was one of his career days too.
Counting down the top 5 performances of 2025, we have had some pretty good ones. Bo Levi Mitchell, Kenny Lawler. We're going to stay with one more receiver. We do have a couple of defenders, and I know you're big fans of their performances, but before we get to them, Week 8, Matt, Keandre Smith, 14 catches, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ticats beat BC 37-33.
And this was the game. This was the start of one. Because Keandre went after it. Had another big time performance again and put up another over 130. But this one here that he came out and I think what was special about this game was they were down for a good chunk of this game, and they had to make that late rally, and he was a big part of that late rally. And they have 14 receptions, had your number called 14 times, 14 receptions and over 130. He had 138 yards receiving. I thought his play that day when his number was called, and there was of course all the focus, all the talk was Kenny. And the Keandre says, no, there's another receiver that's in town that you need to be talking about too, and that's Keandre Smith, number 85. Don't forget it. And he came out there and he made it happen. I thought it was just there's another receiver that again he went up through this season, put up over 1,000 yards for the first time in his career. And there's just been one of the things that I've seen from him is just like a lot of maturation in terms of just his production. He's been a guy that this unit has been able to rely on, not only in this game, but there's been multiple games throughout the course of the season. And I thought it's just been great to see. And there's a lot more. There's a lot more coming from Keandre too. I believe that.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Sim, I was just going to say, Keandre's got another level that I think he can get to.
Yeah, absolutely. Keandre, he's locked in. And the thing about Keandre is he can focus. Whenever he focuses, his sky's the limit. And that BC game is when we got 4 quarters of focus out of Keandre. Because the thing about Keandre, you don't got to never worry about how hard he wants to compete or what he's going to do. It's all about him keeping his extreme focus from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. And that's exactly what he showed that whole entire game. Not from the first, second, third, and in the fourth quarter when we needed him most. he hit the game winner. We forgot about the game winner.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, he called game. Not only did he have 14 receptions and produce from first to fourth quarter, on the last drive, he called game on the BC Lions. So that was one of those games where I was like, oh my goodness, BC Lions, what was that about? And then we found out that it didn't have anything to do with the BC Lions, because after that game, 100 yard, 100 yard, 100 yard, 100 yard, it's Keandre. He was the one making the plays. So that performance was not only his coming out party, but it was the thing of Scott Milanovich was like, wow, we got to find ways to actually get this guy the ball. And now you're looking and watching the film and stuff, and he's the number one target on some plays when I'm watching the DV Sport and stuff. I was talking to Zach Caleros about it, and Zach Caleros is a fan of Keandre as well too. He's like, man, I love that number 85 kid on your team. Like, he's a competitor. He's fun to watch. And, like, he's just going to continue to make plays. So that game against BC, when he had them 14 receptions, it was an absolute dream game for the kid. And he continued it, and that's why he's over 1,000 yards this season, because of that catapult from that 14 reception yards and the game-winning touchdown against BC.
All right, let's focus on the defense as we look at the top 5 performances of 2025 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Week 18, Simoni Lawrence, Julian Hauser, 4 tackles, 4 sacks, a fumble recovery. Ticats over the Argos, 47-29. BMO Field. Wow.
I've never been so hyped in a game in my life.
I remember it well.
I was going crazy because I love defense. You know what I mean? Like, I played running back in high school, and, like, that was my first. But I love defense. I love the fact that you are already at a disadvantage and you got to make it happen. And what did Julian do? He made it happen. I'm talking about he was pressuring this quarterback, it felt like, every single play. He got there 4 times, but he might have been there every single time they said hut to be around him. And not only was he just sacking the quarterback and leading the team in that kind of way, he was picking up the football. Well, I know we're going to talk about it, but Osai gets a script. Who's there to pick it up? Julian Hauser. And that was one of those games where you're just like, wow. Way to do it, Julian, because we was having that back and forth for Defensive Player of the Year. We're just like, okay, Julian, you really did it. You stood up, and that was the type of game that you needed to have. We call these stat games, guys. Whenever you're playing a team that you know you're way better than, you're supposed to put it in overdrive on studying, because you can get any single stat you want to get when you know you're better than the football team. And Julian knew exactly that, and that's why he got 4 sacks and 4 tackles and a fumble recovery. And then you look on the other side of our superstars. Kenny had 3 touchdowns. These are what we call stat games, and Julian took advantage of it, having 4 tackles and 4 sacks that game.
Man, that was a crazy game for Hauser, and he's had a lot of good ones this year.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that. It's like there was a handful of great performances from Julian Hauser this year, where he had sacks, had a sack with a pick, and just making plays in very unique ways. And I think Sim, on one of the podcasts we talked about just how the defense has been using him in so many different scenarios, so many different spots, just really highlighting his skill set. And again, this game, he came out and he just dominated that offensive line. And then not only did he dominate the offensive line, he dominated the offensive rival. So he did it against the Argos. And so this is something that, if you're playing in the Hamilton, it's like you're going to have some games you want to ball out against Toronto. And so he did that against a rival in a game where they're still fighting for their playoff lives. And then they kind of put their season on ice at that point. And I thought that was a real good closeout game. And we talk about his performance. You kind of look over the course of the season. This man became Defensive Player of the Year for the Ticats, and is going to be probably the Defensive Player of the Year. And you look back, it's like, well, which game was it? And I think this is the one that when they turn on the highlight tape and they're going to show all the highlights. I think this is going to be one where it's like, this was the game that stuck out, what kind of made him, that player that's like, hey, this is a guy that's on the map for this 2025 season. So I love the play from Julian Hauser, not just this game, but of course a handful of games throughout the season, and very deservedly received the Defensive Player of the Year.
We have one more top performance of 2025, and these are in no particular order. This, however, might be the most impressive performance of the year. There is some argument for sure to be had. And Matt, we'll start with you on this one. Again, same game, Week 18 in Toronto. They boot the Argos from playoff contention. Philip Oskee, 4 tackles, 3 sacks. I still maintain it was 4 sacks, but they gave him a tackle for a loss for a safety and 2 forced fumbles. Philip Oskee, that was his coming out party.
This is if you're a D lineman, you're a defensive player. This is a dream stat line where you're just filling every single stat on the board that you could get, and he made that happen. The only thing he didn't get was an interception. But again, regardless, he let Stavros take care of that game. And I thought his play was complete domination, flying all across the field. It's like everywhere you looked, it's like Oskee was there, forcing the fumble early, took out Arbuckle early in that game. Again, we don't condone injuries, anything like that, but like he's going out there playing physical and taking up one of their star players. And I thought his play, of course, ignited the play from the rest of the D line, and then of course the DBs followed that up. And not only did he have sacks, but of course he had pressures. He was in the face of these quarterbacks constantly. He was so disruptive that entire game. Again, 2 forced fumbles, not 1, 2 forced fumbles. And Rick, you mentioned it too, and a safety. Come on, this could be the performance of the year. Of course, across the entire Ticats, because Oskee, Rick, you mentioned it was a coming out party. It was a play or just the performance that he's probably going to remember forever. And those teammates I'm sure they're kind of reminding him about that, because they're like, hey, Oskee, we need to see this on November 8th too. Don't leave it in the tank. We're gonna empty that tank on November 8th too. So man, it was great to watch. And shout out to Philip Oskee for his dominant performance all season.
And what was great about this performance in particular too, I mean, you had Hauser making a play one turn, and then it was Philip Osai's turn making a play as well, and they were kind of going back and forth trying to one-up each other. And I think Simoni Lawrence was having the time of his life in the broadcast booth. At one point, he's yelling for Hauser, and then it's like, Oskee, you're the man. Sim, this guy was unconscious this game.
He was unconscious, and the thing about being unconscious is he proved that his best makes him one of the best defensive end in the whole entire league. If he can play at his best, his standard. Because it's not no secret why Philip Oskee came in here and making all these plays. His motor is unbelievable. And not only is his motor unbelievable, his intentions are dangerous. And that's the way you have to play football. When you see a big defensive end running at you every single time and know he's coming with nothing but bad intentions, you're going to duck a little low, and you're going to get low a little faster when you're playing offense. And that's what Oskee did, and that's what he continued to do that whole entire football game. And the reason I say this was the best defensive performance of the whole entire season, it's because he's the one that started the party, and he was the one that ended the party. Let's take a look at it. We were in desperate need of some points, and we all know our offense scores after we get turnovers and stuff. They came out there, drove the ball down. They got the 3 points. And then Philip Oskee, they're coming in. He gets the script fumble, and right after that fumble, we score a touchdown. So we get points right away. Our first touchdown is off that Philip Oskee script sack. That's huge. And then you're like, oh my gosh, this guy keeps kicking everybody butt. You go all the way past halftime. This guy's still getting safeties. Like, what's going on? Like, how is this happening? This is what you call, man, I'm just better than everybody, and this is the standard. I'm just better. And now he put everybody on notice around the league, and I think this performance not only made him a player on the Hamilton Ticats that we need that kind of production out of consistently. And I think he's been doing a great job. Look at the Ottawa game. He had a sack. He's been consistently causing havoc and doing a great job at that position. He did a good job making it hard for him to ever get off this roster again, because he's a player that's top 5 defensive ends at his best in this whole entire league right now with the way his production has been. And that football game just lets you know, like, man, if you can get your defensive ends rolling and you can win first down and you got Phillip Osai and Julian Hauser, something that we've been begging for here in Hamilton since like 2019, 21 when JG and we had some good Norwood pass rushers and stuff. These guys are getting to the quarterback. Julian's finding a way. And the crazy thing is, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to give up his move. I haven't even been seeing him use his secret move yet. So you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't wait till the playoffs because he's been setting it up all year long. And then you got Phillip Osai. He just needs to continue that motor. And like Phillip Osai, that was the best performance, and he motivated everybody around as well too, because you could see that energy every time he made a play, it would permeate through the whole football team. That's what I always look for. It's like some people like to root for and cheer for just because, like, yeah, that's their friend on the team they like to hang out with and stuff. But then you got the players that they football plays are so nice. It's just like, oh my God, like you can't control yourself. And like that's how it was for Phillip Osai when he was getting safeties and script sacking the quarterback. Like that's the kind of thing that permeates through the whole football team. And then the other teams are like, dang, bro, we can't do nothing with them. Best performance. Great job by Phillip Osai.
Tip of the cap to our top performances of 2025. Bo Levi Mitchell, Kenny Lawler, Keandre Smith, Julian Hauser, Phillip Osai. I should add a late addition to the honorable mentions, and Mark Leggio going for 7 for 7 should have been on the honorable mentions list in a victory over Ottawa. So big ups to Mark Leggio as well. Eastern Final, Ticats. It's going to be either the Alouettes or the Blue Bombers. Saturday, November 8th. It is the blackout game at Hamilton Stadium. Wear your black clothing. Tiger Cats pregame begins at 2 p.m. that afternoon. Kickoff is at 3 o'clock, all on the Ticats Audio Network. Like, subscribe. A new episode of Ticats This Week will drop next week.
This has been the Ticats This Week on the Ticats Audio Network. Like, follow, and get a deeper understanding of your Hamilton Tiger Cats.